Welcome to the On Purpose Investor Podcast, show 52. 9 things I wish I knew before I got started in real estate investing.
If you feel something in your gut, that's 95% of your brain at work telling you to do or not to do something. So just keep that in mind as you're looking through all of this, whether it's deals, mentors, anything, kind of go with that inner feeling and pursue that. And that has served us very well in our business.
Welcome to the On Purpose Investor Podcast with your host Eric and Tiffany Vogel. We've spent several hard years building a rental property portfolio so we can have more time with our family and live our ideal life. Now, finding your path can be difficult, so we're here to guide you along the way with lessons, tips, and tricks to design and implement your dream life. Now, sit back, turn up the volume, smash that follow button, and get ready for this episode of the On Purpose Investor. Welcome to the On Purpose Investor Podcast. I'm your host, Eric, with my beautiful, amazing, lovely co-host,
Tiffany.
And welcome back. We are still over 800 miles separated, but still coming at you with these podcasts. And we're super excited to be diving into episode 52 today, the 9 things we wish we had known before we got started in real estate investing. And we're going to jump through these 9 things. They are in no particular order necessary, but they're things that really you need to grab a notepad and a pen and just jot these things down. If you want to call these the 9 commandments of real estate investing, you could. I would probably advise not to say that, but these are things that you should remember every day while you're hustling in this field, because they're things that can really separate you from those that are trying to get started, or those that, get started and then fail and give up and never get going again. And they never build that generational wealth, and they never become successful in this endeavor. So, Tiffany, you excited? You ready?
Super pumped. Let's do this.
There we go. All right. So before we get started, I am so happy to say I finally get to come home in about 5, maybe 6 days now, and get to see my family again, get to see my wife again, and get to be home by the pool, do some relaxing, do some hanging out.
For 2 weeks before you go off again.
Well, won't be gone for that long.
Nah.
But I am excited to come home and be with my family, get back into the studio, get focused. We're really working hard. Tiffany especially is working hard to build a really amazing course that we're putting out fall of 2023. So it's going to be amazing, y'all. It really is. I'm always amazed by what Tiffany creates and all the things that she is putting together. So stay tuned for that.
And can we just acknowledge, if you're watching on YouTube, can you scoot to the side a little bit? This bed behind Eric has been military made with the perfect pocket corner. It's fantastic. And Donald
just
Trump.
For our viewing audience.
But,
all right, let's get into it.
Hopefully, maybe not the next episode, because we might do 2 this weekend, but hopefully soon you'll be back in your beautiful studio that everyone loves to see. So we're looking forward to that for sure.
Absolutely. No doubt.
All right. So the 9 things we wish we had known. I think first is just stop and listen. I think there's the 80-20 rule. The things that create 80% of the impact take 20% of your time. Is that right? The 80-20 rule?
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to apply that same principle, but this time it's going to be listen 80% of the time and only talk 20%. When you're speaking with someone who's been in the industry for a while, just pause, listen, ask them questions, let them talk. I started using this new, cool AI tool when I do Zoom calls, and it tells me what percentage of the time I'm speaking. And I love it because I can see when I'm speaking with someone, am I talking more or are they talking more? And it tells you the exact percentage. And it's super interesting because you think, I haven't talked a lot on this call. And then you realize, oh, I've been talking 60% of the time. It's more than you realize.
There's this unique understanding from the other side. So if you're the one giving advice and you're with, we'll call them a newbie, and you're speaking to them, and you bring up a topic that you're trying to share with them to help them on their journey. And then that person just begins yap, yap, yap. Now, granted, that person that's talking The receiver, the newbie, might have some very interesting things to say, might have some unique, intricacies of something that they're trying to say. But at the end of the day, that person giving the information, the lead person,
The mentor.
likely has seen that. The mentor has likely seen what they're talking about. They have likely been through what they're talking about, not just once, but probably dozens and dozens of times. I feel like people often try to speak in those situations to try to validate themselves in some way, try to feel like they have earned their spot at the table, that they have earned with their knowledge the right to participate in the conversation. Now, granted, everyone can participate in any conversation. That's fine. There is no badge that you get after you've done 20 deals that says, I am now able to talk at this table. There's none of that. It's just a general understanding of respect. It's a mutual respect thing. Now, there's no way that I would go up to, someone like Gary Johnston and start telling him how things ought to be, or telling him and teaching him about, financial calculator things, or, creative deal structures that involve, just a tangled web of intricacies. I wouldn't go and start just telling him about all that, because I have not earned my right at that table. I don't know as much as Gary. And I understand that. And I go into that conversation understanding that. And I go and I'm just a dry sponge and he's a leaking faucet. And I'm there to just absorb as much as I possibly can.
Yeah. I mean, speaking about Gary, so Gary's teaching this coming up today, Financial Freedom Principles. We're recording this on Saturday, the 27th. So you'll hear this hopefully a week or so after we record. And I remember last year sitting at this class, and I had the pleasure of having breakfast with Pete Fortunato. And if you haven't met Pete, you're missing out for sure. But he was going into a deep topic on insurance. And I just kept asking him question after question, because I'm not going to tell Pete what he's doing is wrong. He's been doing it since he was 18, and he's in his 70s now. So he's been at it longer than most of us have been alive. So just digesting the information from him and internally questioning why would he do it that way, and understanding that he has a level of experience that I don't have. And maybe that advice doesn't apply to me, but if I can take a little bit of information from him, he's giving me something of himself that I should acknowledge and appreciate. And it's not my place to tell him about my situation and what I have going on. It's more, what can I learn from him versus me telling him about myself? Because at the end of the day, look out for yourself. Telling him about yourself does nothing but maybe boost your ego in that situation. But you might learn something by asking that mentor questions that could change your entire business.
Yeah, that's the second part of the stop and listen. So stop, listen, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you can listen twice as much as you talk, right? There's that old just Southern colloquialism. But ask questions, but don't just ask questions. Ask the right questions. So you need to go to these conversations prepared and knowing this is the person I'm going to be speaking with. This is what their forte is. This is what I am dying to know. And don't ask it in a sense of, hey, will you help me analyze my deal? Or, hey, will you help me structure my entities? Instead of asking a question like that, ask a little more pointed, direct, and say, in the event, someone has this type of property and they're trying to organize the structure given this unique circumstance, how would you advise that person to go about doing that? And make sure if you're in a group, ask a question that might benefit the whole group. Don't just ask a question in front of a group of people to try to validate yourself in front of that group and try to seem smart. We all know those people. When you go to any type of course, when you go to any type of education event, there's always that one person that asks the most asinine questions just to try to seem smart. But try to avoid that at all costs, because those mentors see right through it and they probably are automatically thinking, ooh, yikes, I'm going to try to make my way to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, definitely. I think the number one question you can ask in that one-on-one networking time with someone that has experience is why. Be the 5-year-old. Ask why. going to Gary's class this weekend. I'm going to go hang out with him for a little bit. And Clyde would always sit there. And Clyde was, I think, in his 90s. He was an old dude. And he would tell these stories. And there were all these 20, 30-year-olds sitting around him. And the stories he would tell would blow your mind. I mean, it's just like, I'm pretty smart. I will give myself credit. I'm pretty dang smart. And I would sit there and be like, what the hell did he just say? Like, what? Like, let me get some notebook paper so I can write every word down so I can go analyze this for a week and then try to decipher what just happened. So the more times you can write down why they did something the way they did is going to help you uncover what's really going on.
Right.
We're 10 minutes in talking about number one. So let's keep moving because
keep going. I was going to try to encourage it. Yeah. Number two, you got to find trusted mentors. Now listen, a mentor doesn't have to be someone that you saw a Facebook ad on Facebook. It doesn't have to be someone that's giving a seminar. A mentor can be anybody.
I want to interject. It's not just Facebook. It could be Instagram. We're old. They like Facebook, but Instagram is, or I don't even know, TikTok, I guess.
Yeah. So find those trusted mentors. And here's my quick guide, a rundown on how to vet a potential trusted mentor. And my 4 things are, have they done the thing that you are trying to do successfully and above board? So just a little breakdown on that. Are they good at what they're doing? And is what they're doing the thing you're trying to do? And are they doing it legally? And are they doing it while helping and serving others? So that's kind of like that first bullet.
Legally and ethically. Are they legitimately trying to help people or not? Is really the question.
Mm-hmm. Number 2 is, are they living a life that you wish to live? Are they spending all of their time working on their thing and not spending time working on their families or themselves? Are they massively out of shape? Are they, getting divorce after divorce? Are they, divorced from their children? Do they not speak to their children? Make sure that they are, emulating that lifestyle that you aspire to live as well.
Yeah. Can I interject real quick? As a woman, I think it's hard for us because a lot of real estate investors are men, and behind them is a woman who's taking care of the entire family. And for female investors, finding other women who are running the business you want to run, but also have the support structure at home. Like, I am able to be here because Eric is so supportive, and vice versa. I mean, I have been fully supportive of him being in the Army and doing what he's been doing for the last couple of months. But I also know when he comes home, he's going to fully support me in the business things that I want to do. And it's a give and take. So if you don't have that support structure at home, find a way to implement it, or acknowledge that, like, you're not apples to apples compared to anyone. So if your mentors, like Steve Jobs, he did incredible work, but what was his family life like? So just, I guess, keep in mind when you see your mentors, do they have not just the business you want, but the family life and the support structure and all the other things in place? And if they don't, that's fine. You can still admire to be like them, but just acknowledge that your situation is different and your end result is going to look different.
The third thing is, do they value the things that you value? Are they religious? If you're religious and you value religion, is the person you're following, speaking in a way that you want to support? Are they valuing, the way they spend their money? Are they charitable? Those are things to try to figure out as well. And then the last thing is, are they looking to solve the problems of others? And this kind of goes back to the first one of, are they doing the thing that you're trying to do successfully and above board and ethically? But I could kind of categorize this in its own thing of, are they truly trying to solve problems, or are they just trying to make more money and line their pocketbooks? So, just ask these questions of while you're vetting this person that you want to be your mentor. Like I said, anyone can be your mentor.
Yeah. And I think one of the things we've kind of gone with across our entire investing career is our gut. Whenever we get into a difficult situation or decision, we ask, what does your gut say? And that's kind of our way of saying, like, what's your intuition on this particular thing? And if your gut is saying this person is not who I want to be or who I want to align with, then go with that. I think there's so many people out there, us included. Like, if you don't resonate with us, then please stop listening to this podcast, because if we're not teaching what aligns with what you feel like deep inside you want to do and who you want to be, then we would rather you not listen. But and that goes for any teacher. I just think there's a level of thinking, not just consciously, but subconsciously. And one of the things we really want to get into with our program that I'm building out is some of that subconscious level. I'm learning a ton about meditation and things, and 20% of our brain power is conscious, 80%. No, I'm sorry. It's 95 and 5%. So 95% of the things that our brain is doing is subconscious. 5% is conscious. So you think about that iceberg analogy. If you feel something in your gut, that's 95% of your brain at work telling you to do or not to do something. So just keep that in mind as you're looking through all of this, whether it's deals, mentors, anything, kind of go with that inner feeling and pursue that. And that has served us very well in our business.
Yeah, that's just a quick little nugget of what Tiffany's been working on. I'm telling you, the thing that she's creating is going to be incredible. Let's move on to number 3, and that is be a sponge. Actually listen, soak it up, and then do the dang thing. So don't just soak up the water and soap and then just be a full sponge of soap and water. Actually put yourself in the frying pan and scrub that baby down, right? So there we have a good mentor of ours that we identified early, and he often would tell us, hey, you should try to do this thing. And then by the time we came back to the meetup the next month, we've done the thing. And he just was flabbergasted. He said, y'all are the first people in the past 12, 15 years that I have tried to mentor people that I have recommended something to, and you actually did it. And what I'll say is by doing the dang thing, like that, I would like to just have a whole shirt that just do the dang thing. By doing that, we found success. So there are 3 little talking points on that of be a sponge, listen, and do the thing. So if someone you trust gives you advice and you've done the vetting, do what they're saying.
Yeah, we went with people that we really trusted. And when they said, go to a seminar, we went to that seminar. If they said, go make offers, we made offers. It's following the advice, though, is key, because mentors get tired of giving advice and it not being listened to and acted on. So don't just sit and listen to the advice, do something with it.
That's right. The second talking point on that is don't be a professional note taker. Don't go to all of these events and be that sponge and soak it all up and then not do anything with it. So don't just be the person that has all the colored pencils and you have the best note-taking skills ever. Then you go back to your notes and you highlight what you thought was super important. And now you just have a beautiful collection of notebooks on your wall of the, what if I actually did something? Like that is the wall of, that was almost my life, right? Don't have a bookshelf of that. And the last thing is stop asking what ifs to things that you are years from facing or might never face. You might never face these things. There's tons of people that come up to mentors or seasoned investors, and they ask all of these what if questions. And these are just, what did you call them, Tiffany?
I don't know. What did I call them? What are you talking about? Seminar junkies?
No, yeah, seminar junkies, but the what if scenarios.
I don't remember. Dang, we should have written it down. It was a good thought, apparently.
I told you to write it down. But, they're just fictitious possible situations that...
Oh, the hypotheticals.
The hypotheticals that it's cool to know what the investor or mentor might strategize to fix it. But likelihood is you're years from facing that. And you're probably going to develop the skills necessary to solve that yourself. And what you've done is you've taken up that investor and mentor's time and you have robbed the stage of someone else to ask an important question.
I think like an example of this would be like, what if I get a deal subject to, and then for some reason the bank calls it due? Yes, that could happen. The likelihood of it happening is relatively slim. And if you're doing enough deals, you're building relationships with people who have money, who could bail you out of that situation if it got to that point. So at this point, like if we did a subject to deal and it went south, we know several people we would call and that we would have help us get through that situation.
That's right.
So that's just an example. But the idea is, don't ask the hypothetical questions about something that's so esoteric and rare that it's probably never going to actually happen. Worry about step one and maybe step two, but not anything past that, because by the time you get to step two, you're going to know what to do for step three or know who to call to get you to step three. And that goes for steps 6 through 10 also.
Appreciate that. Number 4 is invest in yourself. Don't just invest in learning from those mentors and investors, but take the time to self-develop.
I regret that we didn't go to more seminars early on. We self-educated through books and podcasts, and we could have gotten to our goals so much faster if we had spent the $500-$600 per class in our network to go learn these things.
We had a bad impression of seminars. We identified early on the gurus, and we're very skeptical, and we're very afraid of getting the wrong information and then getting into a bad situation. So we were hyper skeptical.
Yeah, I think not just that, we got it stuck in a scarcity mindset. Like we were hesitant to, that's $600 I could fix, 2 toilets, maybe 3 toilets, the money was so tight for us back then. I mean, $600 for one of us to attend a class. So, and then you count in airfare and all the other things, it adds up quick. But the money that we earned by spending that money saved us thousands. It's kind of hard to put into numbers what it could have saved us had we gone to some of these classes early on. I mean, we picked a strategy for acquiring our rentals that fit the market at the time, but had we taken a different approach, we could be double the size we are now if we had listened to some of our mentors. And well, if we had attended more mentors classes, I guess is the way I would put it.
And had we listened to this podcast that we're recording right now, back in the winter of 2018 or 17, the winter of 2017, we'd be double, maybe triple the size we are now. It's all about taking action. You got to take that massive imperfect action. And that is number 5.
Well, real quick, I want to just say, like, you totally can listen to free podcasts and you can read books and go spend maybe $100 a year in books and go to your library and do this on the cheap. Or you can take I always use Candyland as an example because that's what I played as a kid. Eric likes Chutes and Ladders, but there's a shortcut route to getting there faster. And it's through
that is the seminars,
courses and coaching. And I wish we had spent more on courses and signed up for that mastermind sooner. Like our first seminar was the cruise, and that's when our real estate career really took off. Mm-hmm. And I wish we had spent some of that money sooner. And that cruise was not cheap. I mean, we spent a lot of money on it, but it was the most impactful thing that we did education-wise in our business.
Yeah. And that's when our network exploded. That is when our massive mind shift change occurred. Meeting people from all over the country doing the same things we were doing. We were a medium-sized fish in a medium-sized pond in our investor circle. When we went on this cruise, we realized how small of a fish we are in a massive ocean. And it just put everything into perspective.
Yeah. I mean, and we met people that we would have never had the opportunity to meet. And, Jim Rohn, you are the average of the 5 people you're around. We were the top of our 5 people we were around. And going on that cruise led us to making relationships with people that are better than us. And It changed everything. So
Right.
I don't know. I just think going to seminars and networking and not just doing Zoom seminars, but being face-to-face with people is how you get to that next level.
That's right. And so moving into number 5, I try to get there early, but Tiffany ripped the e-brake on me.
Sorry about that.
And that's fine. That was important. We needed to, that needed to be said. But number 5 is take massive imperfect action. So taking massive action is easy to identify, go do the thing. But what do we mean by imperfect action? I mean, stop waiting to have all of your ducks in a row before pulling the trigger. You're going to learn so much by just pulling that trigger and taking that action. Now, I'm not saying to go pull the trigger on something that could bankrupt your family or make a decision that is going to completely change the course of your life in a negative way. Do all of your homework going into it, but don't sit there and play the what if game with yourself. Don't get into analysis paralysis. Go take action and make it huge action. And don't be afraid to mess up, because when you do, and you will, you're going to mess up in some way. We all do. Make sure you understand that when you fail, it's not that you have failed and you are now a failure. It's that you have failed forward and you have taken what you've learned in the sense of it on the road seminar, essentially in the streets. What is it? KIU? Yeah, the Streets University.
Yeah.
You've gotten yourself a seminar through that imperfect part of your action, but don't be afraid to take that action. Yeah,
we had a friend who just took down his first deal, and we're super excited for him and his wife. They are doing it together. And I told him, this deal is not going to make you a millionaire, but it's also not going to break you. And when you're buying single family houses, now, if you're buying $1 million apartment complexes, yeah, that deal could make you a millionaire or break you. But if you're starting in single family 1 to 4 unit houses, you're not going to make $1 million off of it, but you're not going to lose $1 million or bankrupt your family. You're taking small action, and it's just taking that first step is hard, but it leads to momentum. And I remember we finished our first house on, I don't remember what we called it in the podcast year, the Django Blocks house, I think maybe.
That's right.
We finished working on this house, working all summer long, and we're like, dang, and we're making $200 a month, like killing it.
It was so depressing. It was such a letdown.
Yeah, but you think about where that house is now, and we rent it by the room, and it's doing fantastic, and it's a little more headache than I think either of us would like. So eventually a property manager
makes over $1,000 a month.
Over $2,000 a month, dear.
Well, that's still more than 1,000.
Yeah, I guess so. But just saying, like, it with rent growth, and now we've changed its strategies on it, and it's doing really well for us. So that one house, I mean, you think your first house that you bought and you lived in, I never lived there, but I think I spent our second date there. That was so fun. Helping you move. Patch drywall. Find a winner, ladies. Find a winner.
Find you a lady that will be willing to do drywall.
Yes, on your second date. But that house is making a very good amount of money now because you bought it in 2016 and rents have gone up. So real estate is not a get rich quick scheme. So go into it for the long term, which I guess goes into our next point of have a clear plan and vision. You can't grow a business if you don't know where you're going. And you don't know, do I need to buy a house this month or not? Like, I feel like when you have clear plans and a motivation for where you're going, you'll get there. If you stop having goals, I mean, I think you and I have kind of coasted for the last couple of years because we've had kids, and that's a valid reason to take the foot off the gas. But now we have more intention and vision and plans, and I think our business is going to grow significantly. So just having that clear plan.
That's it. Say no more. Number 7 of the 9 things I wish I had known before I got started is work on the things that you actually enjoy. Now, Tiffany, you're creating this course that has a lot to do with this. Can you dive into this one for us?
Yeah, I feel like this is like one of the linchpins of the class. that I want to teach. And it's not just a class, it's a program. And it's starting on the things that make you happy. I like looking at deals. That's what I thoroughly enjoy doing. And I like numbers and I like working in Excel. And I know building out messaging for the program we're building, I absolutely I enjoy it, but I don't love it. But if I have the opportunity to go sit and work in Excel, I'm like, yes, let's go do that. So I've realized if I put my time and energy into that and it's easy and it flows, I'm happy at the end of the day. And not that I'm unhappy at the end of the day of working on other stuff, but it's easy. So if you focus on the things that are easy and that flow for you, you're going to be more willing to do it and less resistant. And with building a portfolio of rentals, what I really want people to realize is I don't enjoy rehabs. Eric does though. So we're great partners in that regard. But if it was just me, I would find someone to manage my rehabs and take over the parts of the business that I don't enjoy so I can focus on the stuff I do enjoy. And if that means earning 1099 income to do the things I enjoy, that basically after taxes goes and pays for someone else to do the stuff I don't enjoy, at the end of the day, I'm net in a happier place and someone else is doing the stuff I don't enjoy. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, I think it does. A lot of people love to say the old, verbiage of if you do the thing you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Now, there's some truth to that. Work is work, no matter how you want to frame it. If you're exchanging something for money, that's essentially what we like to call work. Now, work in the actual sense of something is that you're moving something with force from one place to a destination, and that force was involved. But if that force that is used to move that stone from one place to another, if that force comes from a place of excitement and you approach that rock that you're trying to move from this place to this place with a sense of there's nothing more that I want to do today than to push that rock. I love pushing rocks. Then pushing that rock is going to be fun. Then showing up to that rock every day to push that rock from one place to the next, you're going to be excited to do it. And then when you reach the point of not having to push that rock, or maybe you're handing it off to someone else, you're going to be excited to teach them. You're going to be excited to pass the buck. You're going to be you're going to feel very fulfilled. Your life is going to have a sense of accomplishment and of meaning. And that, I love to say, and Tiffany and I love to say in our course, is that you don't want to get to the end of your life and asking yourself, why did I spend my whole life climbing this ladder to the top of this building that I never really wanted to be on top of? I should have leaned my ladder up against that other building and started climbing it. So, there's a skill set assessment that is involved with figuring out what you really, really enjoy within this industry. And there is a place for everybody. There's a place within this business for every skill set. And, it just takes time and studying and understanding to figure out what lane do you belong in. And at that point, lean your ladder against it and start climbing.
Yeah. I mean, I wish in hindsight we had done some more flips and paid someone to property manage and I don't enjoy managing. I know you definitely don't enjoy that part of the business. So if we had outsourced that aspect and flipped and paid the taxes and taken the huge hit, but use that to fund our lifestyle after the management fees, we would have been happier because it would have only taken a couple flips to cover those management fees. And I know there's people out there that love managing. So I want people to live in their purpose and what they enjoy doing and what they're good at the end of the day, and not worry about the things that aren't in that purpose. And, I was talking to our mutual friend that is getting into the business, and he's like, yeah, there's so many good classes I want to attend. And I get it. When we first started, it was there were 6 classes thrown at us, and it's which ones do you pick? I don't have $600 a pop. I don't have $3,600 to throw at education. But if you could pick one or two of those and go learn that topic, and then you charge somebody $100 a month per property as a property manager, you can quickly make back what you learned in that class. If managing properties is what you want to do, that's not what I want to do. But you find what you're good at. And that's one of the things we're going to help you find is that skill set assessment and what you're good at. So then you can go be living in that purpose and charging other people for that service and using that income from the thing you're good at to pay for the things you don't want to do. And I can't imagine where we would be if we had not gone down the property management path, because you think about how much we lost in lost rent and evictions and all those things. If we had had a manager that could own that and handle it for us, we'd be in the positive in a very significant way, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying earlier, you're going to have failures. You're going to have areas of your business where you're either going to pay for the education or you're going to learn it on the streets.
Yeah.
And all of the money that we have lost over the course of the past 5 years in lost rent or in high turnover costs or in lost opportunities because of attention elsewhere, it's hard to put a number on that. It could be anything. But it's definitely, there is a value to it.
Right.
And that value far exceeds the price of what we would have paid to either hire the manager or pay for the education.
Yeah. I mean, you think about one eviction is you lose rent for a month plus all the court fees. That's $2,000, give or take. I mean, so $600 for a class that might help you avoid one eviction. That's a win to me. So yeah. I know that's going back 3 points ago, but point is work on what makes you happy and outsource the rest. And if you want help on that, please DM me, because I feel like this is like the hill I'm going to die on. If I had invested in the things that I enjoy doing and not focused on the rest, like I'd be much happier. And that goes with staying at home too. Like I've kind of been a part-time stay-at-home mom for the last 2 years, and Eric being gone has taught me that is not where I need to spend my time. And I love our kids. I enjoy spending time with them, but I cannot spend all day watching Dragon Tales is the rage and Daniel Tiger. It's just not where my head is. And I love it, but I just want it in smaller doses. So outsource the things you don't enjoy and you're not good at, and focus on the things that you do enjoy and you're good at.
That's fine. Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to number 8, and that is have a contingency plan. Now, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail, and we've all heard that adage. Now, this plan can be for anything within your business. It could be if the market shifts, what are you going to do? In the sense of if rents dive, how are you going to pay your bills? If, a massive disaster hits your area, like when we had the tornado come through, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Or if houses start getting more expensive and money becomes more expensive, how are you going to make your monthly nut? I mean, there's a bunch of things that can shift, whether in the economy or the environment or in your personal life. There's a lot of things that could shift. Have a plan. It doesn't have to be detailed. It doesn't have to be all written out, but have an idea of how you're going to shift.
Yeah, I think in some ways having a plan B is not the answer, because then you're going to just plan for plan A to fail and revert to plan B. But it could be through the form of reserves or just a backup plan or something in place so that if it all goes to hell, what are you going to do? So you don't lose your shirt. And a lot of times I think that is reserves. For us, like buying properties that we rented by the room, we always went into it with a plan that if it didn't work rent by the room, we could still rent it as a traditional rental and at least cover the note and the taxes and insurance and repairs. Like bare minimum, it would cash flow neutral, bare minimum. We violated that rule though. With our most recent acquisition, we found one. We thought it was a great rent by the room opportunity, and it bit us in the butt. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I know that's been your pet project.
Yeah, we could talk about it. I mean, honestly, it's just we saw a deal come up and it made sense to rent it by the room. It's a great location and all of that. And then I I just, I failed in the sense of I didn't do as much due diligence as I should have done. I didn't go into it with a finer tooth comb. And when we started doing the renovation, we just uncovered so much that we ended up having to get a permit. And that really shifted the whole scope of it. We now have to do a lot more than I intended to do. Just because when you open up something and it's bad, you need to fix it. Because we try to be above board with everything we do. And so when I open up a wall or the contractor opens up a wall and we see, oh gosh, we got termites in the bottom of the house here. Oh gosh, we have, pipes leaking under the house. Oh God, we got this. And there are things that with enough amount of due diligence and, a finer tooth comb, you can see these things, you can figure these things out. But, when you're taking that massive imperfect action, sometimes, you're met with a challenge. So with this challenge we were presented with, we just decided that we're gonna turn it over and we're gonna flip it. So we're gonna put a little bit more money into it. We're gonna sell it back on the market.
Yeah,
so
that goes into our last point, which is just be quick to act. We took a deal. It didn't work the way we intended. So it was within a week that we were looking at it and we're like, yeah, I don't know that it goes back to the gut. We were both like, what's your gut say? And my gut was saying we need to flip it and just get rid of it. Even if we have to write a check at closing, it's just not a house that we want to keep as a rental. And I asked you, I think 10 times probably, because I just wanted to make sure you were in the same spot of what's your gut say?
And that takes us back like many episodes ago of if it's not a heck yes, then it's automatically a heck no.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think we'll wind up making some money off of it. If we don't, then we call it a lesson. La Calle the Streets University, we learned a lesson. And at the end of the day, that one deal is not going to make us or break us. And it is what it is. We learned a lesson. And I think that's something people need to realize is things don't happen to us. They happen for us. And I think this is happening for us to teach us a lesson. And I think we got the lesson. So we're ready to remedy the situation and move on. And, there's so much of emotional energy that goes into some houses. And I have a friend who's working on a property and it's not going well. And I keep telling her, just sell it. Like, just walk away. And I think she's closed on it by now. But there's so much emotional energy that can go into things. And sometimes it's better to just let that energy go and walk away from that property than holding on to it with the hope that it will turn around. I don't know. I feel like there's a Titanic analogy in my brain right now, but I don't know how it's connecting. So don't run into the iceberg. Just turn I don't know. I don't know what I got, but.
Well, that's where you need spotters in your life that hold you accountable. That spotter on the Titanic didn't do his job. He was asleep or he wasn't looking and he didn't detect that iceberg. And so the Titanic smashed right into it.
Was that what happened?
So if you had a good spotter in your life that's looking out for you or someone that is essentially in your life to help guide you in some way spiritually or, emotionally or maybe business wise, they're going to help you to point out, hey, this is looking like XYZ. You should probably turn your boat a little bit before you hit that iceberg.
Yeah. Yeah. If we can help be a spotter for you, send us a DM on Purpose Investor on Facebook and Instagram. We'd love to connect and see if we can help you be that spotter. Because it's hard in this industry, especially because the market is turning. So we don't know where things are going and it's hard to see where the ship is going. Is there an iceberg ahead or is there smooth sailing? Depends on who you ask. I think there's definitely something coming in the market, but also downturns in the market means opportunity. So how can we take advantage of what's coming? So we'd love to help. So send us a DM. I think all of our socials linked in the show notes. So we'd love to help out and really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. Yeah. Anything else, Eric?
Yeah. If you want to engage in more of group discussion, go search on Facebook, Investor Connect. This is where we have an online group, just an online It's membership only, so you just apply to join, and as long as you are not a prince in Saudi Arabia that is, fishing for, I don't know, a place to dump your prince money,
Your mom
you'll be let in. Yes. So go check out Investor Connect. And if you're looking for some goodies, go to the episode before this, episode 51. Tiffany and I are doing some role play in the sense of how to ask money for deals. So from private lenders. So go jump back to episode 51, take a listen and learn how to get access.
Eric's an embarrassment. It's great.
It's okay. I went all in because I love you guys. So go back to episode 51, take a listen through there to get the ins on how to get that bonus material. Go request to join Investor Connect. We look forward to see you online. Other than that, y'all, it's been a great day. I really enjoyed talking through the 9 things I wish I knew before I got started in real estate investing. Hope it was helpful. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we're changing things up. I'm not doing the outro anymore. So thanks. See you later.
Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Head over to onpurposeinvestor.com and sign up for our newsletter to get all the latest updates. If you haven't already, we'd really appreciate an honest review wherever you watch our podcast. All right, now go smash that subscribe and follow button for more tips on building your dream life. See you next week, Pathfinders.